Mr. President.
Senator from California.
Even if one were to set aside all of the moral arguments, our review was a meticulous and detailed examination of records.
One of the most significant things about this report is that it's really for the first time in any significant detail that the US government explains exactly what it did to al-Qaeda terrorists and goes into the torture program that it did run. We've known that the US tortured people for almost a decade. We've had some of these details before, but we've never really seen it in such an official form where the government itself is saying, yes, this is what we did. So it's a big moment in terms of transparency and accountability. One of the main conclusions from this report is that the Senate Intelligence Committee says that the CIA misled the White House, misled Congress, misled the media, and misled the American public about what it was doing.
I know from personal experience that the abuse of prisoners will produce more bad than good intelligence.
And the other big conclusion that the Senate Intelligence Committee drew from this is that the torture didn't even work to any great extent. It said there were no cases where torture produced that kind of what they call a ticking bomb bit of information where they were able to stop an imminent terrorist plot. They claimed that almost all the very good information that the US was able to get from suspected terrorists was done from more conventional legal interrogation techniques. Now this is disputed by the CIA, who put out their own short statement where they said that the information they received from these interrogation techniques helped them in their push to try and find Osama bin Laden, partly through using the torture techniques. The Senate Intelligence Committee said that there's absolutely no information to back that up. They say that that's false. So the political reaction to this has been quite complicated. The Republican leadership in general was against publishing this report, and several senior Republicans said that it could actually stimulate terrorist attacks against US interests in the Middle East and other bits of the world. But there were some prominent Republicans who dissented with that. Senator John McCain, who people will remember was himself tortured during the Vietnam War when he was a prisoner of war, he very prominently made a speech in the Senate today saying that it was a very good thing to publish this report, and saying that torture doesn't produce the kind of information that the CIA says it produces.
Obviously, we need intelligence to defeat our enemies, but we need reliable intelligence.
There are other political implications for the Bush administration. According to this report, it says that the CIA misled the Bush White House. So you might have seen this, some people from the Bush administration might have seen this as an opportunity to distance themselves from the torture, to say that actually they were kept in the dark by the CIA, but that hasn't happened. President Bush, Vice President Dick Cheney, they've both come out saying that they believe in the report, they believe in what the CIA was doing, they believe in the torture program, and they thought it was effective. One possible implication could be over the CIA chief, John Brennan, who was a very senior official at the CIA at the time when torture was taking place. He made a statement today saying defending the program, but also saying that some bad things were done. But this does put him in a difficult position, especially after he had a very public dispute earlier in the year with Senator Dianne Feinstein, the chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee, who was conducting the report, who basically accused the CIA of spying on her staff while they were doing the research. But there's unlikely to be any immediate fallout from this report in terms of prosecutions or judicial inquiries. The Obama White House has already said that it doesn't intend to prosecute people. They've already looked into this from a legal point of view and said they don't intend to prosecute. So this report doesn't change anything from that point of view. But in terms of accountability, in terms of detailing, in terms of creating a historical record of exactly what happened during that time when American society was deeply traumatized by 9/11, this report will likely be a very important document that will be remembered for a long time to come.
History will judge us by our commitment to a just society governed by law and the willingness to face an ugly truth and say never again.